Those are our 5 seconds of welcome. Coming to you Thursday, July 31st, the last day of July, freshly shaven and haircutted uh, for the Sabbath. Uh, Bunch of things to remind you, announce, and talk about, as well as my review of the Spider Man movie that I saw last night. Don't have a ridiculous amount of time in my Shabbos finery, but I can do at least 10 minutes. I'm sorry. I can do 10 minutes. I shouldn't say at least. I could probably do a lot shorter. And I might if I get called for help or anything in the household. So let's first make the announcements. We just locked down a Sunday, August 16th event with Robert Sikoryak, Kyoto Wilberg, Yuko Shimizu, and a few other artists to be named later because they have to 100% confirm that the date and time work for them. So I haven't said who they are yet, but we're going to, hey, Mark, that's going to be very exciting. The Comic Carousel has been done in Brooklyn. It's been done in New York. It's been done in Silver Spring, Maryland by SPX. It's been done at some major conventions, and we are going to bring it to published the new bookstore / bar right up the block from us. They're going to have the event. We're going to host a signing. That, if you go look on my Facebook or my Instagram, you'll see an announcement about it, but it doesn't have times because we haven't hammered out which is happening first and where. Depends on who's coming, etc., etc. The exciting, the whole thing's exciting, but the exciting thing is that Yuko Shimizu, who we've been trying to get out all summer, has been sort of reckoning to come out for like her event. So she's joining everyone there, and she's going to give a little talk. She doesn't have a comic book that she's going to read like the rest of the carousel, but she's going to give a little talk about illustration, about how she does her illustration. I think it's going to be well attended, a big deal. If you can make it Sunday, August 16th, it'll be in the evening. But yeah, Mark, it's pretty exciting. Also exciting, BTS in 2 days. Mark, you, I imagine, have been to some giant stadium concerts. If those of you watching this later or elsewhere, Mark and I have known each other for 20 years. Yeah, are you there? Maybe 19. But yeah, Mark, I'm sure you've been to some giant stadium concerts, but this is the largest stadium concert I've ever been to. 21 years. Look at that. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Um, Time. Right, dude, time. All the gray in my hair. Look at that. Anyway, yes. So BTS concert on Sunday. We were closing early. We were closing at 3 p.m. Because I have to get to New Jersey for the concert. It'll be the largest concert I've ever been to. I think the second largest will have been Dylan at Jones Beach. Dylan at Madison Square Garden. Not Jones Beach, Madison Square Garden. But this is the biggest concert I've probably ever gone to. Then the next Sunday, August 9th, Erica Henderson, who redesigned Squirrel Girl for Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, who did Parasocial with Alex DeCampi. I hope to, Mark. Will be in the shop signing the early release of Harley and Ivy, her Harley Quinn and Ivy romance series that just came out from DC. It's coming out in a complete book. She'll be in the shop August 9th. And then August 16th, Comic Carousel, Robert Sikoryak. Thank you, Daniel. Robert Sikoryak, Kyoto Wilberg, Yuko Shimizu, and that's that. So now that I've made all the store announcements, let's talk about the new Spider-Man movie. If you're a regular on this channel, which I doubt most of you are right now, most Americans watch later, I have been a Spider-Man fan, my goodness, 40 years since I was a little boy. I have read Spider-Man comics pretty much on and off that entire time. I was a huge Spider-Man guy in the late 80s to the late 90s. I read basically every Spider-Man comic that came out from, I'd say, 1989 to 1998. I basically didn't miss a Spider-Man comic book. I run a comic book store now. I don't read a lot of Spider-Man. I don't read a lot of superheroes that much anymore. Worse off, I don't really love superhero movies. I'm kind of one of those people who I'm fatigued of them. Many years ago, it's hard for me to come back from that. I am no longer hype on the superhero movies. If you watched 2 years ago, we did a review of Superman after we saw it, where I was very positive, and then we did a quick review of Supergirl, which I did not go back and give a long, in-depth one. I was a huge Clone Saga fan. Thank you, Joe. Joe knows his lore. This Spider-Man movie is clearly an attempt by Marvel to recapture the feel and fun of phase 1 and phase 2 of the MCU. It is 100% trying to be a tight little movie that happens in a world large enough that you get cameos and moments and growth towards other stuff, but is focused and centered on one story. That is one of the biggest detriments of later MCU movies. There's too many things going on, too many moving parts. This is focused on the fact that after Peter Parker makes everyone forget who he is, he basically dedicates his life to being Spider-Man, and doesn't have a Peter Parker life. It's been in the comics a few times. There's some weird stuff in this movie vis-a-vis cinematic choices, but the thing that I like is they feel like choices. In other words, there's a part where they montage, and it's been talked about already online, numerous places. I'm not spoiling anything. Where they montage famous Spider-Man covers, Boomerang's throwing boomerangs at him as an Eric Larson cover, Rodney Tombstone's holding him over a girl, that's a Sal Buscema cover, and they have these moments, and they slow-mo these moments, and they sort of through them, and it's kind of like, but they use that kind of cinematography throughout the movie in fight scenes to make it feel like, no, we're not just doing the homage. Once we've done the homage, our fight scenes are going to have these slow down moments to do a Matrix style look at what's happening, and it works because they committed to the bit almost. It works, and that's what I think the biggest strength of Spider-Man happened later in the movie. So no, I don't really love John Bernell's Punisher, not in this, but up until now, how he's been portrayed, the stuff they've done for his narrative of his backstory has not really worked well. This plays very differently. This is a different writer writing him if it was a comic book, you know? Oh, choppy connection. I'm sorry, everybody. It's a different writer writing him, and it's like that. It's like when you get into the comic, you're like, okay, this is still a Punisher, but he's in a Spider-Man comic. And they lean into it, and it works. He really is, what they did with the Kingpin in a bunch of the MCU shows. Now that he's come back, he doesn't feel like the same character, and he just doesn't feel like the same character. This feels like the same character, but he's inhabiting the world of a much sillier character. And it really, all those choices work. Tom Holland is a fantastic Spider-Man. He's a very good actor. I would say that this is one of his strongest performances in the Spider-Man films, but here's the real thing. You cannot watch this movie. It's not a movie. It's the fourth Spider-Man movie. You could maybe skip some MCU stuff because it does really focus on the fallout of what he did in his third movie. And it has references to the first two movies. The larger Avenger stuff, just like my 13-year-old son does not love superhero films. He rewatched the Spider-Man movies for this, but he did not rewatch, I think he watched Civil War, Infinity War, and Endgame, but he didn't watch all the things that came after it. So there's cameos from modern people in the MCU he didn't get. But no, I don't think I failed him in that sense. Many other ways, I'm sure I failed my children, but not making them superhero nerds is fine. So I explained who Jean Grey is. I explained her being the first canonically X-Men-like mutant because, again, they made Kamala Khan a mutant. They implied that Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are mutants because they're the only ones that had something in their genes that let them survive. They've hinted at people being mutants. They also do some interesting MCU choices, which I'm sure we'll get retconned in later. But basically, Gamma mutation, Spider mutation, and XG mutation are all the same, which I'm like, Marvel 616 continuity would have a problem with that. But, it doesn't really matter. That's the point. The movie is solid. It is probably the best superhero movie I've seen in years. But again, I don't really like movies, and I don't really love superhero movies. If someone made a Spider-Man comic of that, that's always the question, right? Would this work better as a comic? And the answer is it wouldn't, because you need all the other movies. Like, if they made those other movies and then you got a comic book of this, you'd be like, why is this a comic book? It should be a movie. It's clearly hitting movie beats. And if they made a comic series that was all those other ones, the other movies would do so much more interesting things if they were comic books. They'd be so much more interesting that they wouldn't end up getting here. I had a customer, the best, I'll sum it up with this. This is on, and we'll end. A customer came in today, goes, so did they adapt? They're like, no. He goes, no, but like, did they kind of base it? I'm like, no. He's like, do you want to hear what part I'm asking about? I'm like, no. This is a pure MCU movie in the sense of, yeah, there's scenes that look like the other. There's a famous Spider-Man B-list character who's in it. I'm not going to spoil who it is. I was able to do this pretty spoiler-free. And it's done well. And things like that. But it's an MCU movie. They're just referencing things. They just have these things happen. You know, I'll give you a great example. Is they have a scene that you've seen in the previews of him coming out of the cocoon, which is from The Other. The Other is a crazy story all about Spider-Man becoming a totemistic avatar of the spider gods across the multiverse. No, that's not what this is about. They have that scene, but that's not why he's othering, to put it in better terms. I'll leave you in one big reveal. Spider-Man does talk to his computer like he talked to the heads-up display in the other movies, and Naomi Watts does the voice, which I thought was very interesting. Keep an ear out for that voice. It's distinct. Anyway, all in all, I don't really love movies. I especially don't really love superhero movies, and I thought it was very enjoyable and fun. I think it was great. Spider-Man, the web swinging, especially, was some of that, because it was done really well, and it was kind of important to the plot how comfortable he is web swinging, because other things happen. He can't web swing so well, or he's not web swinging as well, so it matters. They use web swinging sort of as a metaphor of the ease in which he is Spider-Man, and I really enjoyed that. And I enjoyed, again, it was mostly CG. I know this famous, in Dublin they shot the scene with the tank where he's web swinging. Yeah, you can see it switch from CG to like, that's actually him on a rig. But it was still very enjoyable. It was some of the best web swinging I've ever seen, frankly. So I guess that's a huge thing I should mention. Anyway, Sunday, BTS. I don't know if we're going to do a live stream. Maybe we'll do a live stream from the stadium before the concert starts. I don't know. Monday, I will probably be half dead, but I will try to keep you informed. And don't forget, August 9th, Erica Henderson. August 16th, Comic Carousel, including Yuko Shimizu. And until next time, remember, damn it, babies, you got to be kind.